a car, 2 kids, and a wife. I'll probably be here for the rest of my life. I'm living on the island. When summer comes and winter falls, the island ladies go to shopping malls. Take daddy's credit card and charge it all. They're living on an island. Oh, we're living on Long Island. Oh, you know it's so much fun. I'm living on the island. I'm just basking in the sun.
Hey, Andy, give me a vodka. Is that your Camaro? It's gorgeous.
You know, I went to high school with Billy Joel.
I go to Hamptons on Friday night. I party hard till sunshine bright. Then I'm sitting in traffic on Sunday night. I'm living on an island. Yeah, living on Long Island. Oh, you know it's so much fun. I'm living on the island. I'm not hurting anyone. Ah.
And we're on.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Yay.
Woo. The Gagootz Show. The all-new Gagootz Show.
Once again.
Once again.
Once again.
And you look, I have to say, you look very nice.
Oh, thank you. Is it because it's Valentine's Day?
I think so. Is that why you're wearing lipstick? You don't always.
Well, I do usually like a natural lipstick, but I do like to wear a red lipstick. But you know, I don't want to look like a hooker. You know,
You're not. You're a mom.
like a high end, like a high end one. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like
An
hourly.
escort, like an escort.
An escort, hourly though.
Yes.
Or like a flat rate.
This is my escort, Jen Snortland.
It's $2,000. Like $2,000 for like 4 hours. Is that? I feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good price.
4 hours. All right.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good price.
And I probably have to pay for dinner too, right?
Oh, you can't afford me. So that's terrible.
I can't afford you to have you on this show.
Oh, stop! I would do it for free if you didn't have me on the payroll.
Yeah.
So how was your week?
My week was very good.
Yeah, what'd you do?
How was yours?
It was busy. It was busy.
You were on a show yesterday.
Yes, I was on Tony Walker's show.
Yeah, Knock 'em Dead Comedy, which is on Gov's podcast, right?
Yep, Gov's Radio. It was really cool. It was an hour and a half long. We were just like talking. We were really pushing the February 9th show that you and I are doing.
Yes, and we're going to show the flyer for that.
Woo!
And we're going to show that here too.
Yeah, and he was like so super. Tony was so nice.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
We talked a lot about you.
I know. I played the show.
We talked a lot about Benny.
I know.
You know,
and my obsession with Frank Zappa and the Grateful Dead.
But you know, there are a lot worse things we could have said about you.
Bring it on.
No, I would never. I would never. I'm very protective of you.
I know, that was great, because I know Tony wanted to bring up some stories. Because
No.
Tony's done shows where he's like, do you know Benny Rizzuti? And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I haven't talked to him in 2 years. I hope I never see him again.
No one knows Benny Rizzuti the way I know Benny Rizzuti.
I know.
That's different.
And it's like, I know your parents, and I was going to these parties with these people who really love their alcohol.
Love their alcohol.
They love their alcohol. And pool parties, and you would be there, and we said hi. That was...
Yeah, well, everybody was drunk. Like, I wasn't going to remember anything. So who knew?
I know.
That's what a party is, right? I don't know.
It was they're fun parties.
They are fun. But, you know, I'm glad you brought up alcohol because... I'm planning my daughter's birthday, and I told my husband there has to be an open bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, there has to be an open bar.
Yeah. So where was the birthday going to be?
It's at, like, a kid's place, so I'd have to get, like, a license. But he was like, that's ridiculous. And I'm like, I have never been to a party that didn't have an open bar.
I used to take my son, we're going back, like, 25 years or so, right? I used to take him to Chuck E. Cheese, and they served beer and wine.
Yeah.
And there was like a package for adults, you know, and I would get it. So I'd get beer and wine for everybody because the parents like to drink.
That's what I'm saying. The parents love to, like, I'm not going to get hammered around my daughter, like, not at home.
So maybe just beer and wine. Maybe not a full bar.
I'm not compromising, but that's fine. That's fine. So yeah, that was my eventful week. I did that. I feel like I did something else too. I feel like other things were going on, but it was an eventful week. I'm already tired. That was an hour and a half podcast, and Tony does podcasts all day. After that, I like took a fat nap. I had some chocolate milk. I was done.
And you didn't work? You were off?
I was working.
Oh, you.
I work in IT. I'm an IT manager, so like, you know, I was there.
Okay.
I work from home.
You work from home.
Yeah, and my hours are weird too, because like sometimes we'll do something at night. like
Okay.
turn something up or something like that. So like my hours are weird, and it was for a good cause. So my boss was like, "You take care of that." I love my job.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So anyway, let's show the flyer.
Yeah.
And this show is this Thursday. I'm on it, and Carla Okerson, who's also here.
She's my Valentine.
She's your Valentine.
Yeah, and she was so sweet. She got me a box of chocolates. I'm gonna cry.
Allison Persky, who's been on the show.
Oh my God! It is the like I said yesterday. It is 2022's best comedians, hands down. You have Carla headlining. We have Dino coming in from New York City. He is fabulous. Absolutely
Yeah, I don't
fabulous.
know yet, but I've heard great things about him.
He's good with like the urban crowd. He does a lot of that. You have Kathy Arnold Jr. She's been
Yeah, I
around
love
forever.
Kathy. I haven't seen her in a long time.
She is a shined up comedian, really. Joe Cravella is a little new in the scene, but like he's soaring. Lou Pratt's
Is great. Yeah, Lou's great.
If you don't love Lou Pratt, there's something wrong with you. Like he's so nice.
And
Well, there's still more. We have Tim Saliani too.
Tim, who's been on the show.
Yeah, he's like the most optimistic guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
And then we also have Benny Rizzuti coming out of comedy
coming out
stand-up
of
retirement for
I
this
know.
cause, and that is so amazing.
The truth is, I don't perform stand-up all the time, but I still make people laugh unintentionally.
Correct.
I unintentionally, and that brings me to, the scheduling of the show. I've gone over this. It's the second Tuesday and last Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
This is not the second Tuesday.
It's not. It's not. It
This is-
confuses me
So the show was supposed to be next week
on Valentine's Day.
and Valentine's Day.
Oh, that would have been
And
great.
No, it's okay. I'll tell
right.
you why in a minute. Anyway, I messed up, and then Bobby was cool with it because so we're going to do the show on the 21st also.
Oh,
Instead of jumping to the 28th,
okay.
we're going to do it. But then next month, I'll try to get my balance again and get my.
Follow us on social media.
Yeah.
We'll tell you everything that's going on.
But I think it's the 14th on the following month.
See,
in
Valentine's
March.
Day would have been cool because we have a really great couple on tonight too.
I know.
Friend of the show,
Yes.
love them.
And we're big friends of their.
Oh
of
my gosh,
The
huge
Dog-Eared Bard's Bookshop.
Dog-Eared
So-
Bard's bookshop, publishing house, coffee shop. At first Friday of the month, they have poetry readings. and
Which
they're-
we're going to talk to them about that, the poetry
tell a
and the
little about
readings.
it? I get excited. I get very
A
excited.
poetry. I know when they came, you never met them.
I didn't meet them, and
Okay,
honestly, like you would think, oh, like the writers. You meet some writers, and they're kind of flat. Their personalities. These guys are amazing.
Yeah,
and
but also when we went to the poetry reading,
it was great.
everybody was great.
Everybody
Everyone
was
was
great.
great, and it was so more organized than comedy open mics. The comedy
I would say so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
comedy open mics, which I have to do 2 tomorrow,
Why?
so that I won't look like an amateur out of all the great comics you have Thursday.
That's true. That's
You
true.
know, I won't look like a Mama Luke.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I do, but and I am a Mama
When in
Luke.
doubt, just default to that. You know, just whoop. But no, you have great stories to tell. I've actually seen you do an open mic. I did one with you in Astoria.
Yeah.
At that pizza place.
And then
with
we
Greg.
did one over the sun. Yeah, at that
Yeah.
pizza place.
Yeah, and then we did one over the summer.
I was the headliner. I got paid
There you
to do the
go.
open mic, so I guess I could say I'm a comedian.
There you go. But
I'd still be lying.
I
but
have a
could
couple of my favorite jokes that I'm going to make Benny tell on Thursday.
Yeah.
You know the one specifically that I love.
say. The one
so.
specific, and then I think the one about everything being my fault.
Yes, yes, because it is Benny's fault. Anything
Everything
that goes wrong.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it. Come Thursday. Come down. It's for a great cause.
For a great cause,
It's,
Barbara C.
it's
Wilson
not. It's
Preschool.
not a comedy showcase. It's a comedy fundraiser that Jen has organized.
Well, it was a
for-
group effort. Everybody involved in it was so helpful. The comedians donated their time, which is like unheard of because like comedians don't get paid a whole lot anyway. So like the fact that they're using their gas and showing up, amazing.
Right.
And using their sets, and they're not pish posh comedians.
No, they're all
You
great.
know, like I said, Carla's headlining. Like, have you ever I didn't think I'd be able to cage Carla, so I'm like, and she's my Valentine. Like, this is my year.
That's so
Like,
great.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, I Alfredo went on a date, as you remember.
Yes, I remember.
So we're going to show that video again.
Let's show. Is that that's the one with our friend of the show, Sherry, right?
Yeah, Sherry Pollen, who's going to come on. Actually, she plays Renee May. So in this,
she needs to
short
fuse
film.
that wig to her dome. Like she looks so great in it.
Okay.
Take it away, Bobby.
Yeah.
So, hey, baby, you have a good time tonight?
Sure.
Oh, you're so nice. You're the nicest person I ever take out on a date.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
Renee May, I take you here to the cemetery to meet my mom. Because I only go out with a girl if I get the approval from a mama. I think a mama should approve of you.
What do you mean when I'm meeting your mother? We're at a graveyard. Oh, she's dead.
Because I don't see no lightning come down. Mama, you like it as a nicer girl, Mama. The next time we go out, I give you a nice and big fat sausage.
Sausage? You look more like the breakfast sausage.
And for dessert, I give you a cream-filled cannoli.
Hooray! What a Valentine's Day treat. I love holidays. I'm sorry.
So we're back with welcome back to the
Thank
show.
you.
Thanks
It
for
was
having us
like
back.
only a month ago, right? And we came to your bookshop, and then we're like, oh, we have to have Jillian and James back on.
Have to. And the bookshop is amazing.
It's a great bookshop.
And I think also might be a little haunted, but we can get into that later. But like, I had a book calling that day. It was very strange. So, but that was, you guys had an amazing, I guess you would call it an open mic, but it was way more organized. There was a theme that went through it, and the person who is voted the best, has the best poetry that night, gets to choose the theme for the next month, which I thought was great. So although we missed it, I know that.
No, I didn't miss a guest poet. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even talk about the guest poet yet.
Yeah, no, it's because we have the featured poet who reads for about 20 minutes or so, and then we take a break, and then we have an open mics, and everybody gets they can read like 2 or 3 poems or whatever like that. There is an optional theme every month because a lot of people are like, there's a theme, I didn't know there was a theme. It's like, don't worry, it's not mandatory. You could do it or you could not do it, but yeah, then they vote on who did the theme the best or who was just everybody's favorite at that time, and then they come up with like a prompt for the next month, and that becomes the next unofficial theme.
What's this month's theme?
I forgot what is.
I know last month was Bridges.
Yes, it was Bridges.
I think it's humanity, isn't it?
That's a,
on being a human being. Yes, that's what
that's
it
a
was.
dangerous,
cool.
dangerous theme.
I'll try to make that one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was because
Yeah.
the guy who did the poem did a poem about what it means to be a being, and then he so when he won, he was like, oh well, then that'll be the prompt. So there you go.
And now you bought the coffee, right?
Oh yeah, I had to. It was so good, and that might be why I'm a little zippy tonight. I did because I had to buy a new Keurig that like has the drip in it because I drink a lot of coffee, and my Keurig broke last week. It was horrible. So I did use the coffee. The I forget which one it was. I don't know, but that might be it actually.
The Colombian Supremo.
Yeah, the Supremo.
Yep, there you go.
I think that might be why I'm a little buzzing. That could absolutely be it. All right, I feel better because I thought I was like having an episode. So like, that's good. It's just the coffee. So I really recommend their coffee if you're looking to be productive. I got a whole lot done today, so that's great. But yeah, everything about, so it's a bookstore. They make coffee, they make tea. They have the readings, and it's not just the readings at the store. You also have readings at Suffolk. I feel like there was another spot.
Sachem Library.
Sachem Library.
Oh yeah, you also do.
Yeah, that's the fourth Mondays of the month.
All right, now these are poetry readings that you do. Have you considered a prose reading?
Well, I mean, we have, if people have flash fiction or whatever, like, they're welcome to read that in the open mic. Like, it's not strictly, like, just poetry per se. We do have some people who do poetry with some musical accompaniment. Sometimes people act out a little stuff. But it's just a matter of, like, fitting within the time frame at the open mic because, I mean, prose can be prosy. And it can
I get it.
Yeah, so if it's beyond...
you limit them...
yeah, like an excerpt or something like that.
Benny has a
could be
book
okay.
about vampires that we're trying to peddle that he's got to finish, though.
Well, that usually helps.
It needs a major rewrite.
It needs a recall.
I love the story, not a recall. No, I love the story, and other people who have read it like the story, because it's a science fiction type of vampire, and it's not. Most vampire stories are like rehash of Dracula. It's like they're in love, and sometimes they're in love with someone they were in love with 100 years ago, and now this person looks exact. My story has a divorce. It deals with divorce. It's vampires, divorce.
Oh, Nancy.
And there's no, and they're not transgendered, but they play both sides of the plate. A lot of these vampires. Yeah.
I love that. I love that for vampires. I love that for lots of nighttime beings.
And I'll be honest, I did a lot of research before I wrote it.
I did a lot of drugs.
I was
going to be like, all right, true.
No, I did a lot of research for it, and the vampire that really fascinated me was a woman, Elizabeth Bathory.
Oh.
Yes.
Who is called
Blood Countess.
She used to like bathe in people's blood, right?
Yeah.
I
In
believe
women's
her, yeah.
blood and stuff.
I feel like Jillian's going to know a whole lot
she,
about this.
I know that she would often put out a call to maids from the village and say, "Oh, you're needed to, help clean the castle. We'll pay you really well." They were never seen again.
And she did she tortured some of these women. Like she poured cold water on them during freezing days and stuff.
She had some ideas about certain rituals of extraction that needed to be performed to get the youthfulness out of the blood. It was
I like her more than Vlad the Impaler, who inspired Dracula.
Yes.
And Vlad, he was he was a pretty wild dude, but Elizabeth Bathory was the one that I really liked her. Then I read that there's vampire mythology is in every nationality. Every country has some vampire mythology. And the African one, which I also liked a lot, was that it was a witch. First vampire was a witch who made love to Satan.
Oh, okay.
And her children were vampires.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's like
me
a family.
too.
I dig that. Because like you almost feel for the vampire because like that's their family. So like I like to like root for the bad guys. So it's like of course he's eating you. Like he's hungry. And like he's gonna bring you back to his people. It's kind of like the story that Jillian wrote with the wolves.
Oh, Tales of the Hunt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they are actually the good guys in my opinion all the way, but
Yeah, well again, that was inspired because, like I said, Stephen King's book, The Institute, was just absolutely horrifying to me. It was the whole idea is, these people come in and kidnap children and say, "Oh, you're gonna go back to your parents when we're done." No, you're not.
Yeah.
They kill the parents. So I was like, someone needs to do something about that. What would I do? Something horrible to those people.
That's great. Oh,
dang right.
That is a scary story. I really like the one, The Whispering, I think.
That's probably my darkest story.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's
I hesitate
really
to
good.
read that one when there are young people about, but I enjoyed writing it just because it got so dark.
Now, have you written any stories, weird, scary tales lately that are going to eventually...
I hope so. I have a couple of ideas going. One
right.
I've been toying with is a confession of this older woman looking back on the one time she murdered somebody.
Oh, cool!
I love that. I feel like that's gonna be me in the home, but like I'll probably be lying, and they're gonna be like, "That's just Jen. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, give her Dilaudid."
Now, okay, both of you are writers.
That's where that heart came from.
Yeah.
Do you have a schedule? Like, do you write every day?
I try to, but it's really whenever inspiration strikes, I listen.
The funny thing is sometimes I could hear her typing all the way from the back office in the bookstore. I could hear so she's obviously got some inspiration going on there.
And how about you as a poet?
Well, I mean, I write something every day, but is it actually creative writing? Not necessarily, because I do a lot of administrative stuff, for the sending out emails, formatting books or publishing, writing instructional how-to stuff for a lot of poetry workshops and stuff we lead. Even though the write something every day is usually advice that I give to a lot of poets, so I don't always follow my own advice in the strictest sense. But you try to do it whenever there's a free moment. Is there a schedule for it? Well, funny enough, tomorrow night at the bookstop, we're actually having a write-in workshop for that exact reason, because I found that in order to have time for myself to write my poetry, I actually have to schedule it with other poets and actually do a write-in.
Yeah, you're doing that on Wednesdays now, right?
Yeah, it's right for the next couple are on Wednesdays. Every so often we do it on a Sunday too, but it's been about every other week or whatever. So.
Oh, all right. Because I would love to go tomorrow, but I have to practice so I don't make a fool out of myself Thursday.
Benny loves to collab. Benny's always like, "You want to go to a diner and write jokes?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do actually." But this is falling on you.
We did. This is actually how this started. Of Jen being my co-host was that. I was teasing about bringing the Gagootz show back. I had done it 8 years ago. And I was amazed that there were people that were fans of it and wanted it back. And Jem was one of these people who wanted it. But then someone else asked me about, you want to get together and write jokes somewhere. So we got together a few times at Starbucks.
Yeah.
And they don't bother you there. And we sat with Allison Persky also. And the three of us were writing jokes and bouncing jokes off of each other. What do you think of this?
Talking a lot of smack.
I tell stories, which I think you might have noticed by now. I tend to tell, and Jen had then text me after the first time, and she's like, you shouldn't tell jokes. You should just tell your stories, because they're funny and they're
yeah, they are really. Interesting. It's like,
but I have to work them in. Yeah.
What did you do, Benny? What happened
but
to you?
but I have a lot of great stories.
That's true.
And a lot of them, I know a lot of them are surrounded by music. They deal with concerts. I go to a lot of concerts.
You have a lot of instances. I'm thinking you might be a vampire. You've been around a pretty long time.
I saw Janis Joplin in concert.
Yeah, but sometimes you do need that, sometimes you need to schedule it. I mean, there's these things where you can write, like when you have a few moments on the side in between other things and something hits you and you just start doing it. But a lot of times actually scheduling time to be around other creative people, really helps, because what's that old saying? We're the direct result of the expectations of our peer groups. And so if we're actually around other...
I don't know if that's an old saying, but I love it.
maybe it's a middle saying, because it's kind of like 20th century. It's not like ancient.
It makes amazing sense.
But basically, if you're around creative people, there's kind of more of an impulse to be creative. Whereas if you're around not creative people, I guess there's more of an impulse to not be creative.
Well, didn't Dorothy Parker? She had a group, the Algonquin Table, I believe.
Yeah, no,
the
a lot
round
of
table, right at the Algonquin restaurant.
Yeah, Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were both part of the same, writing group. The Inklings. They had look what they wrote. Because they had a group that they kind of bounced off each other and they all met up. I mean, granted, half the time they were drinking more than they were writing, but they were talking about the ideas at the very least.
Hemingway had a thing too. Hemingway was like, write 5 pages a day and then drink all you want. But he had to get his 5
He would lock himself away and make it his job, I think.
But he only wrote a few. As long as if he got 5 pages, I had read, then he was happy. Then he'll drink and swim to Cuba and back.
I always thought Hemingway was kind of overrated.
It's funny how he's he's sort of the inverse of F. Scott Fitzgerald, because Hemingway more did novels and Fitzgerald did short stories, because he basically needed money, and so he could write shorter pieces and get paid immediately for having those, whereas Hemingway kind of put more time into it over the period, and then you got the checks later on or whatever. So
I think we might have lost half our audience.
All right, well, I just want to say this first. Hemingway, see, you said you think he was overrated.
I do.
I think he was just so simple to read. Hemingway is simple to read, that you don't realize what's going on, that there is a lot going on in his novels.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you, okay. If that's your opinion, I value your opinion, but...
Where some people go on, some people get very descriptive.
I love that. I love the more detail, the better. Like
the
Stephen
Dune
King,
books.
Great detail. Love it. You feel like you're there.
Love what?
Stephen King?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, he writes about a wall, he'll do this, and it's like, I love that. And also there's a lot of metaphor there that you're catching.
there has to be just the right amount of detail, in my opinion. Like, not enough to the point where, like, okay, get to the point already, but enough so that you can say, okay, I can visualize this very well.
Right.
All right, but sometimes some authors, you're reading them and you're in that get to the point already, and all of a sudden they hit you with, wow, this is why I had to know all this.
Right.
And The Green Mile. The
I
first
loved it.
200 pages of The Green Mile, I had no idea what was going on. I was like, what kind of story is this? It's like a murder, they're in a prison. I don't see any Stephen King. I see more of the one he did, Rita Hayworth and
Richard
Shawshank Redemption. Yeah. That's what I thought. I thought it was going to be a story like that, and all of a sudden, John Coffey helps out, the man who's got a urinary infection.
This went off the rails.
And then I was like, whoa. Then I was, and then Dune is like that too. But in Dune, I felt Frank Herbert sometimes just he
rambled.
Like,
Yeah,
right. He'd
Well,
just be,
sometimes you need that. Jacob Marley was dead as a doornail, to kind of just, the exposition to get to the point. And speaking of people who are wordy, Charles Dickens, a lot of people don't get, he was paid by the word.
Yes.
So that's part of the reason.
yeah, right. Yeah.
That makes really good sense.
Oscar Wilde, the picture of Dorian Gray. The picture of Dorian Gray. Now, I had seen the movie too, but I read, you know the story? Are you familiar with the story? He was a young, innocent man, and somebody made his portrait, and then he wished that, why do I have to get old and decrepit? Why can't that happen to the painting? And what happens is he winds up looking young and looking exactly that way, but becomes very evil, and every time he does something evil, the portrait gets uglier, and it gets to the point where he has to hide this portrait.
Oh, okay.
Up in an attic.
Very nice.
Okay, he has to hide it because the portrait is grotesque.
It's a reflection of him.
And there's a great movie version of it too. But I'm reading that Oscar Wilde, and now and as you say, it's descriptive, and there's a lot going on, and all of a sudden I'm getting to the end, and I know how it ends in this movie, and I was like, how is he going to end this? And he's got like one line at the end that the only reason they knew who it was because of his ring, right? So I'm paraphrasing, but it was something, and I was like, wow.
Speaking of ramblings,
yes,
James brought us some great literature to read that
I know,
he wrote.
but we have to, let's bring up Carla.
Okay. I didn't know where we were going.
So, yeah, I know. It's me. I got diarrhea of the mouth.
I love hearing about it.
We're going to show a quick video.
Okay.
No, let's not even show the video right now. Let's bring up Carla. Come on.
All right. Want me to I'll bring her up over here.
Yeah, bring her up over
Carla,
here.
are you mic'd?
Oh, okay. You're going to go to the video?
Go to the video.
Yeah, play the video. We have no idea what we're doing.
Could have gone to Chuck E. Cheese.
I'd rather be anywhere but here right now.
If you were an idiot, that would be a step above on your intelligence scale? I'll give you my order.
Yeah, sure. You want to grab an appetizer or?
I want chicken waffles.
Chicken waffles?
Chicken waffles. I come here all the time. You make the best chicken waffles. That's the only reason I'm here.
Sir, we don't actually have chicken waffles on the menu.
I always come here. I always have chicken waffles. Are you kidding me? You don't have chicken waffles?
No, I'm sorry, sir. I'm not kidding you at all. Sir, who was your server the last time you were here?
The last time I was here, the server was Marissa. Nice lady. Really nice.
Sir, I apologize. I don't think Marissa's worked here in 10 years.
Are you kidding me?
No?
I've been coming here. Do you know that I probably used to date your grandmother in this restaurant?
Well,
you know that? I was a bartender for years before you were born, and your parents, if I didn't get them drunk, you would not be here to serve me today. Do you realize that?
Well,
I got your parents drunk, and they were making love to the Pink Floyd album when it just came out. And if it wasn't for me, and it was all because of me eating chicken waffles. You can't get me chicken waffles? You can't talk to the chef? Do me a favor? I'll take care of you.
Well, you're right, sir. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here at all, and my parents would have never met. And I should probably thank you.
Exactly.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go get you some goddamn chicken waffles.
You're the best. What's your name?
Reuben.
Reuben. All right, Reuben, like the sandwich. Could you make me a chicken, like a waffle Reuben? That would be like the coolest thing. You just get a waffle iron, a Reuben with a waffle iron.
Sir, we don't have a Reuben sandwich on the menu.
You don't have Reuben or chicken waffle. What do you have? We're back.
We're back! And through movie magic, we've got Carla.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
Carla Okerson, great.
Woo!
Good to be here.
Thank you for being here. And I have to thank you for when we did our Christmas special. You actually videotaped it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was so nice.
And I was like, I think you reminded me like 17 times. And then finally I was just like in my car. I think I was in my car or something. I was like, I got to get this done like right this second because
I saved
my
that
mind
video.
is
Because you look beautiful now, but you looked also so beautiful in that video
Oh,
that I
thank you.
saved it. I was
Yeah,
like,
you
"Oh,
did. You look
Lighting
very.
in the car.
You have great lighting here, and I love your hair.
Thank you.
Very cute.
Thank you.
I wish I could be
you
this
guys
put
were
together.
trying to
skip the Super Bowl and move on to Valentine's Day, and I would not
were.
allow it.
Oh,
I
okay,
would not allow
great.
it.
I'm guessing you're a what is
I'm
this?
an Eagles fan.
You're an Eagles fan?
I am an Eagles fan. I'm one of like 3 on Long Island, so I have to represent and just generally fight everyone when I wear my jersey.
Well, tell us a little about the Super Bowl. What's going on?
You know what? I'm the worst football fan. I married into a football family, and then 16 years later, we're going through a divorce, and I didn't know anything about football, and I'm like, I'm not just leaving my football affiliation. I'm like, it's the only thing I have. Like, I don't know anything else about these teams. This is my favorite player who played throughout most of my marriage. So I don't really know anything about football, which I think is probably most people. I'm just an Eagles fan, which I think is like most Philadelphia people. Like they're just Eagles fans because they have to. Also, I think this color looks good.
But they don't know any of the rules. They don't know any of the rules.
I don't think anyone really understands the rules of football.
I mean, my husband knows quite a bit. James, are you a football guy?
Hand egg?
Sounds like he knows a lot about it.
Hand egg, yeah.
That's the one where they throw the ball.
Right, because
Yeah, is that a
real,
Hail Mary too? They
Yeah.
throw the ball, that's a Hail Mary. I think that's everything.
Yeah, they just
because
have to
real
make that
football
goal.
is soccer. That's
Yes, I'm a big soccer fan too.
Oh,
I
you
know
gotta
more about
be,
soccer.
right.
I know more about soccer
The
than
football.
football. I know more about football than football.
my wife. I love her, Nancy. I love you. But anytime we went to a Super Bowl party, she'd be the one asking, "So why is he kicking the ball now? Wait, how many downs do you get? What is a down?"
Oh, I'm the
And,
one
you know,
snacking. I'm like straight up snacking. Some people like make whole stadiums with like
Little charcuterie
cheeses.
stadiums. They're so cute.
They're so cute. I am not that woman, but I do for my husband. I do make him like all the finger food just for him, and I like
That's nice.
I sit it around where he's gonna be, so he doesn't have
You
to like
just
get
surround
up.
him by food?
I surround him with
Why doesn't anyone ever do that for me?
with anything BJ's
No one
has
ever
to
does
heat
that.
up.
no one does that for you.
No one does that for me.
It's only Super Bowl.
I'd probably understand football better if I didn't have to keep getting up and going to get my snacks.
He's a sports guy, but
I used to make sauce. That was my thing. On Super Bowl Sunday, I'd
Yeah.
make sauce, and then I would make pizza, fresh
So what
pizza.
time is it going to be ready? Is my
want some
question.
pizza.
I want some pizza and
This
sauce.
year I decided I didn't want to do the sauce because it takes all day, and then you got to clean.
why do
then
you decide these things as soon as we start
I
hanging
know,
out?
for real.
This is ridiculous.
I
what?
will make a. I'll make a sauce one Sunday, but it won't
Okay.
be Super Bowl. And I'll,
All right, that's fair
I'll
enough.
give you all even.
I want to
yes,
invite-
Jillian and James will get.
Maybe
some.
over the summer we could have a sauce off because my
Are you
mom
okay
makes
with
really
pork?
good sauce.
Is everyone okay with pork?
Of course.
Okay.
On a man pork, like we had an issue a couple of years ago. We're kind of working it out, So
He might owe me some money.
couple letters back and forth.
Because I use like boneless pork chops. You know, my family they use a bone. I like boneless pork chops and sausage in there because the flavor. It just
Porky
is.
deliciousness covers a multitude of sins.
Yeah.
Pork can really do whatever it wants, and
And
it's always just going to be fine.
It'll be. We gotta stop because I'm like.
You know, I want the sauce.
If there's going to be a sauce
Yeah,
off, then you got to have my olive vodka sauce.
That's,
All right,
Oh, yeah?
so we
already
have
heard
another
about this
contender.
sauce.
I'm ready. I'm just fine to be the judge
All
and do
right,
no
great.
work.
I don't want to brag, but my mom won a meatball contest. They're called Marie balls because his name's Marie. So we call them Marie balls, and we make her make it like once a month, and then we freeze it. It's delicious.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but meatballs aside, something very exciting is happening tomorrow for the first time ever.
Well, it's not for the first time ever.
Well, it's the first show.
It's a new podcast. It's called Gagootz. It's a new podcast. It's if it survives.
It will survive. You have such big personalities.
I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys are dog people, right? Like I'm half Colombian and half Argentinian. And in Argentina, there's like their national dogs, an Argentinian doggo, right, is a huge white mastiff. And in the lineage of this dog, when they developed this dog, one of the dogs that they used was the dog of Cordoba. And that dog fought itself into extinction, literally would rather fight than mate. So that's why that dog doesn't exist anymore. Right? So like
I have a few cousins like that.
So this podcast is a lot like that, like our old podcast. We used to have a podcast called Domestic Disturbance, and we fought our way off the air because we couldn't stand it anymore. And if we were either going to preserve the friendship / relationship, or we were going to continue to do the podcast, but both were not going to happen.
Didn't you do one on movies too?
Yes, we did. Same thing, that same exact thing. So the movie thing just kind of, went on until like all the infighting went and then it stopped. So we're giving it another shot.
Who are these horrible people that challenge you?
That would be Tim Saliani mostly. And also Mike Keegan. But this new and improved, hopefully, podcast, we've roped in Rich Rita as a buffer. Poor Rich.
Oh, he's always smiling though. You're gonna break him.
I know. He won't be smiling much longer.
No, don't break Rich.
It seems like you guys are drawn to argue on your podcast.
Right, that's that, and therein lies the problem.
Well, you're a professional arguer.
Yes.
Yeah, you are a professional.
Yeah.
I do this in every
Aspect of her
every
life.
aspect of my personality. I'm called upon to argue with people. That's just what I do. So now I'm going to be doing it on a podcast again, and hopefully we can get past that whole, we won't argue ourselves into extinction like the dog of Cordoba.
There are people like myself, though, who I consider you a good friend because I feel you're very honest from the first time we met.
Which is usually what causes people to argue with me.
Yes.
If I were a better liar, less people would argue with me.
Something us people on the autism spectrum learn pretty quickly. People say, be honest. I don't mean it.
They never do. They never do. They never do.
But I always try to stay on your good side. I want to be like an observer with the arguments. I don't want to be involved.
I'm a hype man. I'm right behind her like, get him, Carla. Go for it. That's where I stand.
No, but I see you as being honest, but you'll back yourself up,
Yeah.
So what time is this podcast and how do we tune in?
So we will be going on Facebook Live. We will also be on YouTube, and I think ultimately we will be doing just the audio on iTunes.
Cool.
So tomorrow at 8:30, we're going live and seeing where it goes. It's called Why Are You Like This?
Why are they like this?
Because why are we like this?
I
So
think
we're gonna
that's
see
good,
where it
though.
goes.
So maybe Rita will be a good
He'll be a good moderator.
moderator.
I'm hoping-
I mean, is he like a referee? Is he going to be the ref?
He might end up.
I
being
think
that
I
way.
think that's just going to be the default. I'm hoping that he just shows up, like with a spray bottle, like you do with cats.
Yeah.
Like stop it, stop it, or like what is it that they do with dogs? Like they put pennies in a can, like,
and shake it. Stop.
Yeah, you should just get like one of those big foam bats and like just as soon as somebody starts like from
He
off
just
screen,
starts,
just come in.
he's just
Like
whacking
not
people.
the person, just see the bat come in off screen and like pop.
Or the inflatable hammers.
Yes, inflatable hammers, because there was one year, maybe 7 or so years ago, Nerf came out with like weapons, and all my friends were into it. But they were painful. It wasn't like soft foam. It was like pretty hard. And we all got like different weapons. I had it was kind of like a wrench looking thing. I called it Iago because it looked like the parrot from Aladdin. Anyway, we would drink and start beating each other with this to the point where like we all got hurt. My friend broke his arm. Like broke his arm here. He had to go to the hospital. we had to stop playing weapons. We were like, no more weapons.
So that's how you keep the peace on your podcast.
Yeah.
Get the Nerf weapons and beat the holy living. That's like
Oh my
that's
gosh.
the middle segment, the intermission. So it's probably going to be like a 45-hour podcast. I really don't want to go over an hour because I feel like it's
a
too
lot.
much.
Or it
Yeah.
could,
It's too much.
It could be the 5 minutes at the end, like you could have a tally, and however infractions people get, like it tallies up on the bottom, and then the last 5 minutes, that's how many times they get poked.
I have the best idea.
Or sparring
Last 5 minutes.
Oh,
moon
they're
shoes,
great organizers,
sock'em
these two.
boppers.
Sparring matches,
like-
sock'em sparring.
I love it. I love it.
There you
But also the moon shoes, so like you're a little off balance.
I'm down.
I would watch that.
There you go.
That seems great. Yeah, but I know that Tim Saliani, he's a huge personality. You're a huge personality. But he goes for the gut. You guys did a roast, and his roasting was roasty, but like, I was like, oh my goodness.
You know, like that style of roasting, I feel like is a little. It's insidious because you think it's really like you're shocked by just like one phrase of it,
Right.
But there's really not that much more to it. Right. So like the big thing was like he said that my laugh makes men softer than the skulls of my sister's miscarried fetuses. Really, the insult there was like that I don't have a great laugh. That's not really so mean.
No.
That's not hurting my feelings that much.
Quite honestly, the
He said
tag
miscarried fetuses, and everybody was like, ah, ah, and I was like, all right,
and
well,
the connection
I mean,
to your sister, because it felt like a real huge jab that
but he
nobody
didn't even
knows
say
you guys.
anything about her. So I'm saying it's really just like not. It's
The
it's
tag,
kind
though,
of
I thought was
zigging
good.
where it zags.
He tagged it with they like found out who their aunt was going to be and died of embarrassment. That was kind of funny. I'll give him
It was
that.
funny, but it really wasn't that mean because they didn't though.
So Carla
were
and
already
Tim
dead
are
in
going to
the
be on
water.
the show together.
Yeah, so they're going to be on the show. It'll be fun.
Already, Carla's like, F Tim. And you guys have a show tomorrow.
Tim, I'm just saying like, I don't really like doing roast battles because I feel like number one, if you're going to be mean, it's really hurtful, and I don't have a good personality for it. Like I don't
Yeah.
really like if you want to fight, we can fight.
I like to be organically
Yeah,
mean.
exactly. If you don't fight, we can fight. But I'm not going to give you all this information just so you can call me fat 25 different ways.
A lot of the roasts I see are very surface, and I'm like, pfft.
You know that I was doing the roast on the show, Pasusu, Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up. And that was tough. Like, I was like, what
You
do
were
I
good at
say?
it.
What?
You were good at it.
Yeah, but it was some of the jokes I wrote in advance. Some of the insults I wrote after knowing the person a little bit. But it's difficult. Like you said, like somebody's fat, and you don't want to, go after their fat, And
Because you don't even know them. Like now all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's like you want to fight with this person. You don't even know. Like you have to know them a
You
little
have to
bit.
research it, and
I
you have
said
to know what
stuff
hits
that
them.
I enjoyed that I thought was funny with Jen. When we did the roast battle, I said, I hope your broom breaks and you have to walk home.
Like silly things like
So
that.
I like something like that. Lou Pratt's, I found out Lou Pratt's is half Irish and half Puerto Rican. So I said, on St. Patrick's Day, do you drink the Irish whiskey or break the bottle and stab somebody with it?
That's funny.
Which is,
That's funny.
Puerto Rican and Irish. I was like, yeah, okay, I like the. But, and Mandy Jones, what?
I think that's racist.
It might be.
Listen.
It might
That
be.
might be racist.
Listen, I'm Sicilian, and I'm the only one in my family who doesn't know where Jimmy Hoffa's buried. Okay? Is that all right?
Yeah, I think I know where he's buried. It was in some Discovery
Yeah.
some years ago.
Yeah.
Who cares? He doesn't have treasure. Wasn't that the whole thing, like finding his treasure?
He had treasure?
Wasn't
he's
it like Hoffa
What,
was
Jimmy
buried
Hoffa?
with treasure?
He was
No, he was a
Very-
union guy.
Well, speaking of union and speaking of people who are racist, so older generations are very racist. Not you, Benny, but like older generations can be racist. And speaking of treasure, there is between Merrick and Freeport, there is a bridge off Meadowbrook Road, and it goes into Roosevelt. And supposedly, they say a gangster at some point buried money there because he was on the run. It's like been a big thing that they
And
talk
there's
about.
a treasure buried near.
What do you mean it goes into Roosevelt? Where?
It's like down by my house. By where Henry Road hits Meadowbrook Road, there's like an overbridge there. The Cerebral Palsy Center is on the left-hand side if you go over the bridge.
And there's
So-
some pirate
People go
treasure.
there with like
People have looked. People have looked. But the racist part is when my parents were much younger, their grandparents used to say that if, the undesirables from Roosevelt came over, we would blow the bridge, that it was rigged to blow. That like it was something that like the community knew about. That like,
Listen,
oh, it was
but-
rigged to blow. I used to
all
hear
right.
it from all these people.
Let me dispute of me being a racist.
No one's
I grew
saying
up-
you're
Are we
racist.
trying to get canceled?
No, I grew up. Listen, I grew up in the.
I just am a fan of the Eagles. I'm not actually from Philly. Like, I don't say these things.
Why you gonna get in trouble for being?
I'm saying they're pretty racist in Philly.
It's like Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
Boston's the worst. Oh.
Well, let's not group
So-
everybody into being racist, but
All
like
right.
typically.
Yeah. Anyway, I grew up in the '60s, where I thought eventually we were going to have a utopia society. I really thought where everybody was going, everything is beautiful.
I was gonna say, don't we? Like,
and we laughed at each other. We laughed at ourselves. Was it the 70s or the late 60s where Blazing Saddles came out?
yeah.
And Mel Brooks says that he could not make that movie.
Absolutely not.
Not even
In
close.
this century, he could not make that movie. And when we watched that, you laughed. The Indians, the Native Americans, they spoke like Jews. Oh, Moisha, look, they're darker than us. That was Mel Brooks was the Indian, right? And the guy that became the sheriff, his family said because they were black, they had to their wagon had to be the last wagon, and then when the Indians went after them, they made their own circle instead of all the wagons circling, and then Mel Brooks comes as an Indian speaking Hebrew.
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but the standout line is like, "Where the white women at?"
And that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor was one of the writers of that screenplay. And he was supposed to play the sheriff. But what happened was when he went to a meeting with all the heads of the studio.
You know, it was the 70s.
I was gonna say, was that bad, or he didn't share it?
And he brought it.
He probably likely didn't share it.
No, he
got the
did.
vote.
Yeah.
He did share. He did hand it to Mel, and Mel said, "Never before lunchtime." So Mel joked, but then the producers didn't want him. The producers didn't want him because of a risk of drugs.
I mean, it's probably crack.
It's the
and not
70s,
cocaine. It's
yeah.
probably crack.
I don't think they had
too
crack.
early?
Oh my God! Did you see that meme
Right.
that like white people were like, "Oh, isn't there a way we could like try to smoke cocaine?" And people were like, they're gentrifying crack. I was rolling. I'm like, oh, that's so funny.
Anyway, we're
Down to the
we
wire.
still have 8. We're not down to the wire. We have 8 minutes, and I promised Jillian and James that they could read.
I was
So you
looking
wanna
forward
hear?
to it.
Really quickly, I
Yes.
just wanted to promote the show this Friday. I'm super excited about it. At Governor's in the Giggle Room, the day after your show, we're having an interactive comedian couples Valentine's Day themed show.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so what we're having is a bunch of comedians, and they're all 2 comedians in the show. Each of the 2 couples, I guess, are connected in some way. So we want the audience to guess. You know, we have an old married couple, a young married couple. We have a new relationship, an old relationship. We have a couple of hookups. We have, some toxic exes. And then we want everyone to guess and then ask questions to the couple and then share some relationship, dating, horror stories. And also in between comics, I'm going to be reading relationship horror stories, dating horror stories that I've asked, just people to submit generally. And I've got some real doozies. And there's weirdly a lot of feet involved.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I could see that.
So if you want to have a weird date this weekend, you want to kick off Valentine's Day in an odd way, but Valentine's themed, you can come out to our show at Governor's.
That's great.
So
What a
you're going to
great
go to
idea.
govs.com. You're going to go to the first 2 shows that are there and buy tickets for both because we're lined up.
Yep. You want to go Thursday, and then you want to go
You want to go Thursday? You want to go Friday? Thursday for a good cause. Friday for some bad relationships.
Thursday because you're a good person, and Friday because you're a little bit of a bad person.
Absolutely. So, James, if you want to try to make a segue to reading.
About bad customers?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Considering I could be one.
Well, no, this is from a previous era. This was when I worked at Dairy Barn, back when those existed. Now they're the barn and milk and things and all that stuff.
I wanted to work at Dairy Barn so bad as a kid.
Yep.
They didn't hire me.
I worked there between my undergrad and grad school, and every time, it was one of those things that people came in, and, I recommend everybody work in retail at one point or another in their life. It's the best self-esteem booster. Because you realize, like, no matter how bad of a day you're having, like, you look in the mirror crying at yourself about how much you suck. It's like if you work in retail, you realize that there are people way worse out there. So it's good for everybody's self-esteem. Recommend you do it for at least a little bit. So every time something stupid happens, basically, I wrote it down and I wrote poems about it. And this book, The Customer's Often Wrong, is basically just a thinly veiled comedy act in poetry form. So
I love that.
I do voices with this, so like this one's called The Missing Bread. Now, I tend to go back and forth between like the clueless old lady and the clueless old man as to not be, sexist or anything, because it was about 50-50. Maybe it was like 55 women, 45 men, but it was about the same, in terms of the whatever. So this one shall be the old man. The Missing Bread. Can I get a large loaf of white bread? We're out of bread right now. Out of bread? Yes, out of bread. Really? Really? How can you be out of bread? Well, people just kept asking for it, and we kept selling it, and then we didn't get any more in. Could I get a small loaf of white bread then? No, sir, we're out of all kinds of bread, not just the large loaf. Do you have any whole wheat bread? No, sir. How about a potato bread? How about no? Any multigrain? Look, sir, we're out of bread. We have none. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure. Maybe a raisin bread? Look, sir, we have no bread at all. Not even the Jewish rye. No rye, no white, no whole wheat. We have no bread whatsoever in the store at all, of any kind at all. Could you check the back? There is no back. What you see on the shelves is what we have, and as you can see, they're empty. Huh. Yeah, sorry about that. That's okay. I really came here for milk anyway. True story. True story. Everything in here is true, I swear to God.
So this book is called...
The Customer's Often Wrong.
That is a read that's
And
going to
other
be so much
poems.
fun.
Yep, it is, despite all the attempted profound stuff that I write in poetry, this is still my best-selling poetry book.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because people, it's like, I get, as a poet laureate, I've gotten invited to a whole bunch of, readings at universities and stuff, where, you get, all these people going up there with, they're trying to be profound and doing all this stuff and talking about, real issues and stuff, And then I go up there and I'm like, there's been a lot of profound poetry read today. I will not be adding to it. Mine is absolutely no point to it whatsoever, So.
I think there's huge points to it, but,
Well, yes,
I
but-
do want to give Jillian the platform because we have so much fun talking to you guys that we always go off the rails. We only have 3 minutes left.
Yes.
All right, I'll just do a little excerpt from tale number 9, The Tale of the Phantom Car. The Tale of the Phantom Car is a story that has been told in countless towns throughout the country. A young man racing down a long, empty road loses control of his car and crashes, leaving the unfortunate driver to perish in the blazing wreck. Occasionally, there are rumors of a girl he was trying to impress or that the crash was the result of a race gone wrong, but the ending is always the same. On dark nights, the phantom car reappears on the road on which the driver met his end. Anyone unfortunate enough to get caught by its blazing headlights is run down by the car to the delight of its ghostly driver. And, of course, there are always plenty of witnesses who claim to have narrowly escaped being the phantom car's latest victim by running into a nearby field or crossing to the next road at the last minute. At least, that's how the stories go. As to what actually occurs, I highly encourage you to read and find out. I actually got the inspiration from that from our numerous vacations to Lancaster, because you drive those roads at night, it is pitch black, and there could be anything lurking in the shadows.
Absolutely.
It's scary driving in Lancaster and upstate New York.
Cornfields, and they always creep me out.
No, yeah, Connecticut.
Yeah.
No, we're spoiled by the street lights at night in New York. Because a lot of other places don't have them, and this is why everything closes at 7. A lot of because nobody wants to drive.
When I was very young, I lived out in Amagansett, and we lived in some of the back roads, and there were times, driving at night, all you had was the light of the car, and especially in weather like now, the branches would be bare. It was almost like skeletal hands, and it's like the woods, what's lurking out there. And I just remember looking at the car windows thinking anything could be out there.
I love
This is why I don't go to Suffolk County.
Yeah.
the North
loved it.
Shore.
Right.
North Shore's fine, but that is from 13 Dark Tales. We talk about it all the
Yes,
time.
we talk about it, we display it. Buy
it.
Buy
Just
it.
go
You
to
can
their
get it
bookstore.
at Amazon. You can go to the store.
Go to the store.
Because
They'll
you'll
lead
have
you
the
in the right
greatest
direction.
time at the Dog-Eared Bard's bookstore.
Go to the store, ask for the Colombian Supremo. Normally that's me.
Yeah.
It's coffee.
It gets Jen all crazy.
I have a poem. It's a poem by Dorothy Parker. It's very short, but I'm inspired by Carla to read this poem to you.
She's quite inspiring.
It's called Sanctuary. My land is bare of chattering folk. The clouds are low along the ridges, and sweets the air with curly smoke. from all my burning bridges.
This has been such a
Dorothy
cerebral
Parker.
episode.
It has. It has. Well, we definitely want to thank you guys for coming. We can never get enough of these two, so I know they're going to be back. Carla, I will force to be
Yes,
back. We can't wait to see how her show goes. She's
The
also
1
my
hour-
Valentine. Look what she got for me.
Oh, that's great. She's your Valentine.
She's my Valentine.
Our show is really like 55 minutes, and it goes fast, so I apologize for if you couldn't talk.
We have fun.
Yeah.
We have fun. And there's going to be another show in 2 weeks. And then Benny's going to fix this flip-flop schedule. Follow us on social media. And don't forget to go to govs.com to get tickets for February 9th and for February 10th.
And go Eagles.
Go Eagles! Happy Valentine's Day!
Happy Valentine's Day.
Day, everyone.
We
Hey,
squeezed
we
it all
ended